I don't have any shoes. I'll admit it. I will brag. Those players did not just go and whip that ass for us to be like, oh, good game. No, we whipped your ass. We took $800,000. Now we're partying with you.
Yeah, who cares if you're in the Power 5 conference if you don't win it, ever? Or you don't beat any of the teams in it? Like, what's the point of that? Wouldn't you rather win the conference and say, like, hey, my team is good, than lose the conference and say, well, our conference is good?
Look, they don't call me Tip for nothing. And my tip is, look out for the Group of 5 this season. They've been taking it to the Power 5 year after year.
The only quarterbacks that ever get any love are from the Power 5. I could easily list off the top Group of 5 quarterbacks I would rather have than those guys. I would be willing to bet that at least one of them is going to be in the running for the Heisman this year.
Down the middle, James, the lateral to the corner of the end zone. Can you believe that?
What's up, everybody? Group of 5 Guys podcast coming at you as the season winds down. If you guys have been liking the show, been liking the podcast, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. It's just at Group of 5 Guys. We got a big show for you tonight. We got a whole bunch of voicemails. We got some people mad at us on Twitter about the latest power poll, which I don't quite understand. We only got a couple teams that have clinched conference championship berths, so still a lot to play for in these last couple of weeks. But as always, I'm going to go around the horn. I'm going to start with the swag bear, Jesse Grisham. How are you?
Pretty good, Sprouse. Hallmark movies are starting to show Christmas movies again. So Hallmark Channel, that is, showing Christmas movies, and we got some good Christmas flicks out on Netflix right now. And if you're interested, Jeff, I think you might have been on this show. I'm not sure. Laguna Beach seasons 1 and 2 is on Netflix right now. So from 2005. So my wife is currently watching that right now. I'm had to come up here and watch this. So hopefully I catch up when I get back down there with her. So here we you fine folk. Doing well.
It's good to hear. Jeff, were you on Laguna Beach?
I was not. That is like 6.5, 7 hours south of where I was born and raised.
You could.
But yeah, I'm more fancy myself.
It was literally like that was your age, like 2005. Like what were you, like a junior or a senior in high school?
I was a sophomore.
You could have been there surfing it up with your freaking flat top. Like you could have done some damage over there. You trending still.
Who was on that show? Who's the famous? Like who's the star of that one?
What's her name from Matt?
It's Jay Cutler's wife, right?
Cutler's ex-wife.
Yeah, Kristen.
She's on it.
Kristen Cavallari.
Yeah. Cavallari's on it. And her nemesis, I think they call her LC. Wow. It's a good show. Horrid on the quality, and it's just fun watching the styles back then. What we used to wear, what the girls used to wear. Good time. You're going to take a trip back in 2005. Laguna Beach, Netflix. Laguna Beach on Netflix.
Yeah, I'd like to see your outfits in 2005 as opposed to Laguna Beach's outfits.
You'd be surprised.
I doubt they're the same.
You'd be surprised. I was squeezing into a medium Hollister top.
Well, what
Hollister?
Were they?
Hollister top with some khaki shorts and some New Balances.
Did you ever have the
swoosh? Yeah, you can't
swoosh?
tell it now, but looking at that again, 2005. I'm like, damn, that's 20 years ago. Yeah, I had a lot of hair. I had a lot of curly hair, and again, Hollister, the Velcro belts, not Velcro, but the stretchy belts and cargo shorts. And
well, anyways, guys, my weekend was fantastic. I got to call the MTSU Blue Raider versus the Charlotte 49er game, and our Blue Raiders got a big, much-needed win, one win away from bowl eligibility. And I tell you what, man, Charlotte's got a good team. And I know they've had a rough season, but they have some really good players on that team. Chris Reynolds, got to see Grant DuBose live and living in color, and man, that kid's a stud, man. He's hard to
look like there was
watch.
Maybe 300 or 400 people there at the game. Looked like
Sprouse.
I'm glad that Fox News was there to show that as well.
Yeah.
Crowd was 9,000. That's what it was reported. So we're gonna stick with that 9,000. I think it was 9,300 and something, but yeah, I mean it was 36 degrees. It was cold. rainy ish day in the borough, and then got to wake up the next morning and saw my son's 7-year-old flag football team just continue to dominate. Another rushing touchdown, another passing touchdown, and he is on the track to a Group of 5 school before we know it.
Love it. Tip, last but not least, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm still falling from that Charlotte MTSU game. It was a cold one, but no, we were out there tailgating and went to the game and saw MTSU with the big win at home. A couple of weeks of the regular season left, and then so like Sprouse said, some teams have clinched a berth in the conference championship games, but still a lot more left to be determined. So can't wait to go over it and talk about it.
So did you get after it this weekend, Tip? Did you celebrate the Blue Raider win? Is that what happened?
Celebrate the Blue Raider win. Went to a concert after the game. Murph, what's that place? It's like it's in a cave with the caverns or something.
Yeah, Cumberland Caverns.
Cavern. Yeah, yep. Went there after the game.
Who'd you go see?
It was Jake Owen.
Oh, I bet that was a good one.
Yeah, it was. It was very good.
How many? Forget it. Never mind.
Well, speaking of the cold, and before we go to the Atrocious Award, I just want to propose a question to everybody. I saw on Twitter where a couple of the MAC fans were complaining that the students couldn't go on Tuesday and Wednesday nights because it's a school night, to which I replied, are they really worried about it being a school night? So, do you think, because I feel like I remember when we would play Troy on a Tuesday or Thursday night, we'd have better crowds. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't know. If I'm a college kid, I can't think of something better to do on a Tuesday night.
Well, for us, I think it's a little bit different because we're such a commuter school that there's more kids around on a Tuesday and Wednesday back when we were playing, and you still had that great rivalry, whereas now, they don't have too many Tuesday and Wednesday games. But I don't know if you guys saw this.
Did see that.
They signed a new media deal, and there's going to be a lot more midweek Conference USA games next year. So what do you guys think about that?
What's the deal with? What's the network?
ESPN. And
ESPN.
CBS.
Oh,
right?
ESPN's doing Conference USA games? Oh, really?
Well, they're going to be like Tuesday, Wednesday, kind of like Maction-ish games during the week.
Well, yeah. The thing for me, the biggest thing for me is you look at this past weekend and UAB's playing North Texas in a huge Conference USA game, and it's not even on I don't even think that one was on ESPN Plus. So that's big. I do worry that it's just another opportunity to highlight the miserable crowds that we've been seeing, but maybe
they are miserable. It has nothing to do with students not wanting to go to the games. I promise you that, because these students ain't got class till probably 10 or 11 o'clock anyway.
That's exactly
the people that do 8 o'clock classes are the athletes.
Are the ones on the team. That's right.
I don't know what the problem is with the MAC, but you show a freaking ACC game on Tuesday or Thursday night, it's full. So I think there's something else brewing.
I can tell you this. I can tell you the Greeks are not worried about, because if they're not at the game on a Tuesday night, they're probably at the frat house or at the bar or whatever. And then, like you said, if you're in MAC country, I bet you if Ohio State played on a Tuesday night, even if they were playing, even if they were playing Northwestern or a Rutgers or somebody, I guarantee that'd be 100,000.
Yeah. It goes back to the Greeks, like you said, like we talked about a few podcasts ago. Yep. Get the Greeks involved. I think your student showing will improve.
Got to. But, anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. But we'll go to the weekly most prestigious award in all the Group of 5, and that is the Atrocious Award. Jeff, cue him in.
It's Natrocious. It's Natrocious. Natrocious. Oh, Natrocious. What is Natrocious, Matthew? I think Hallmark movies for Christmas are Natrocious. The Perfect Story, the meeting love at first sight, and getting rich by the end of the movie, and having a kid within 3 days. Christmas Miracles, it's all BS. I think it's Natrocious how phones, as soon as you pay your phone off, it starts having issues. It's Natrocious. Whenever you pay off a car, and then you start having huge mechanical problems, and then you have to spend about $5,000 to get that car fixed. Might as well get a new car. The world is Natrocious. just having to spend a lot of money just to have fun is atrocious. Inflation in general is just atrocious. This world, this country, politics, Democrat, Republican, everything's atrocious. And what's also atrocious is having three best friends that judge you for wanting to go to your wife's alma mater football game around Thanksgiving. There's a lot of atrocities that's happening out there, and I'm sick of it. So atrocious is a way of life, and we're all living it. It's atrocious. It's atrocious.
Are we opening up this can, or what are we doing here?
Oh, it's been open.
For anybody that's wondering what he was referring to there,
you want to find out about me on social media? I'm going to the Iron Bowl. I'm going to the Iron Bowl after Thanksgiving with my wife graduated from there. But these three seem to disagree upon that.
No,
I should pull money out of my pocket that's going to go towards my family and put it towards a group of 5 guys.
No. Nobody is giving you hell for going to the Alabama.
You're the one that even told me on the phone. You said you realize you're going to get hell for going to the Iron Bowl.
No. It's not that you're going to the Iron Bowl. It's that you haven't been to your alumni in several years, and it's
several years. What's
the last Middle Tennessee game you went to?
Spring games past year.
Okay. When's the last game in the fall?
I've been traveling for a group of 5 guys. I can't just go to MTSU every year, Sprouse. We're supposed to be open to all universities. We can't just choose one game. If I live 5 minutes down the road, I would go to every home game, but I don't live 5 minutes down the road.
All right. Well, again, nobody was giving you stuff for going to the Alabama game, but it's because you get up here and you preach, support your alma mater, go to the game, support your team that you went to, and you've not been.
I am supporting other schools because I'm a group of 5 guy. I have to do this.
I went this year to a Middle Tennessee game, and I went last year and the year before. I don't think you've been.
I couldn't make it I couldn't make it this year because I was going to other games I had to go to. But my wife, she also has not been to a ball game since she's graduated, and so we had to go to the Iron Bowl.
Well, that's going to be a good game. It's going to be an awesome.
You disagree on?
No, I don't disagree. I think it's going to be a great game for you guys. You guys can have a great time at her alma mater. I respect her for supporting her alma mater.
We're going to go support her alma mater. That's
fantastic. It's going to be a great weekend.
You can't be sexist. We can't just do what the guy wants to do. We have to go and support our wives as well.
Great. Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, Jesse, FAU at MTSU this Saturday. Last home game of the year.
Big game. Yeah,
both going to be bowl eligible if they get one.
Yeah, and FAU mathematically still alive in the conference play there. Anyway, I mean, all that other stuff, I am with you. I mean, talk about disgusting in politics. I hope you didn't have any of that money in the Bitcoin because
that thing's crashing quick.
Well, yeah, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but seems like that had a little politics to do with it at the old FTX right there.
I tell you what, I'm about to invest in one company, $8 in Twitter. My boy Elon Musk.
Get a blue check mark.
I gotta get a blue check mark.
Yeah. Honestly, hey, should we do that? Let's get everybody's opinion. I'd like to hear some voicemails. Should the group of 5 guys pay $8 a month for a blue check mark, or should we risk a parody account to get the blue check mark first? I don't know. Well, anyway, that's I think old Swag was wishing that was going to go a little more.
What? I have not been in an MTSU game. I was at MTSU a couple of years ago. I mean, I apologize. Since we did a group of 5 guys, I put my investments toward traveling elsewhere. I could go to MTSU every time, but who am I to do that? If I go to MTSU, we want to go to other games, do we not?
So that is your Atrocious Award. Apparently, it is us, and it is everybody. But let's move on to the Week 11 headlines. Had some interesting stuff. I'd like to start, if you guys don't mind. And, I mean, we've got to give a shout-out to Carlton Martial. Breaks the all-time NCAA tackles record. The guy's like 5'9", barely 200 pounds, linebacker out of Troy. And to be quite honest with you, I haven't seen a single segment of it on any of the, college football pregame or postgame shows since it happened. So we just need...
Did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
My microphone was blinking, I swear to God.
I'll tell you what.
My microphone was blinking, I swear to God. Hang on a second.
Wait, no.
Do y'all hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay. So
your mic on your...
There's something going on here.
Collusion.
Your mic, that's what it is. Your mic on your, you need to change your microphone settings.
Oh shit! I know what it is. Oh,
I thought
So
I thought he
we're
was
keeping
doing
all
that on
this
purpose.
in, right?
Oh,
This
yeah.
is all staying in, right?
I thought he was doing that on purpose, like trying to just ruffle my feathers because he's mad at us. So anyway, yeah, Carlton Marshall, 540.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me there?
540 Yes.
Yes.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
No, I
Yes.
can't hear you.
546 tackles for Carlton Marshall.
Y'all hear me now?
Yes.
What about now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, there's no muting on this remote on this microphone today. Okay, Carlton Marshall, great player, 545 tackles, career tackles, over 545 career tackles. We all knew he was going to have against Army though, right? Because they run triple option. Like he probably had like 30 tackles on Saturday.
22.
Yeah, close.
Yeah.
That's a beast.
Yeah, 22 tackles. And I mean, speaking of, 10-9. Troy, what did we say? We were sort of joking about Troy's defense preseason. I think I said 12. They're at 16 though. 16 points a game they're giving up. That defense is stupid. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. But I'm all over the place, having to tell the swag bear that we can hear him 16 times. I mean, he got more. Told swag bear we could hear him more times than Carlton Marshall had tackles on Saturday.
Actually, keep this in. I mean, right now. I just got to use the computer. It's going to mute myself.
So yeah, that's my biggest headline from week 11. Swagber, go ahead and unmute yourself. What's your biggest headline from week 11?
Biggest headline. I was very disappointed just with the outcome, but not how they played. I thought Tulane played UCF very well. It was two very good teams. UCF, they showed up again. Very good offense, very good defense, but usually defense wins championships. I got to say UCF's offense kind of overwhelmed Tulane's defense, which makes me a little worried going down in the future about the next couple of games. Is Tulane's defense as good as we thought they were? We will find out. The two turnovers that Tulane did have, it didn't lead to points, but it definitely flipped the field for UCF and gave them a good advantage. So Tulane still played well on offense. You know, Michael Pratt played well, and Tyjae Spears, he had 130 yards rushing. So very good game. Some people were saying if Tulane would play better in the first half, I thought they played okay in the first half. I think that they just had two very good ball teams play each other, and UCF, they look like the team to beat right now in the American. So that's my takeaway.
Yeah, and UCF, well, they, as of right now, they have a rematch in the championship game. Tulane, of course, got SMU, and then they've got Cincinnati. So I think we talked about that last week. They got very good shot to I think the power just went out in my house. What the hell is going on?
You want to keep talking smack to me? I got people at your house right now.
Yeah, okay, buddy. Yeah, something happened with my light right there, but that's okay. Yeah, Tulane still got SMU and Cincinnati, so a lot could happen still in the American. As of right now, UCF is in a pretty good spot to host because they've got South Florida at the end of the year. And that might be it for conference for UCF. So they're in a pretty good spot. But Cincinnati still in it, SMU still in it a little bit, Tulane in the driver's seat to play in the championship game. I'll go to you, Tip. What do you think?
UAB with a massive win over North Texas. I don't know if any of us saw that one coming. Yeah, with that in that big win, UAB's running backs Jermaine Brown Jr. and Dwayne McBride, they combined for 270 rushing yards and 4 total touchdowns against North Texas. And that just shook up the Conference USA standings a little bit. If North Texas keeps stumbling, you might see Western Kentucky making their way back down to San Antonio. So we'll see what happens there for these last couple of weeks. And Ohio and Toledo both win in the MAC. It looks like those two teams are going to be playing each other in the MAC championship, and that's going to be a great one to watch.
Tip, Dwayne McBride, do we know what year he is? Is he?
He has been there for a long
Is he?
time.
He's been
Well,
he's been there a while.
He just broke the single season rushing touchdown for UAB this past weekend, and I was wondering if he's a junior, maybe, or is he probably a senior? Just let us know. I could have looked it up too, but I don't know if you probably knew.
He's a junior.
Yeah, shit. Look out.
He's a stud.
Well, they got to hope. So you brought up Western Kentucky, and then them. So I just go into the Conference USA standings a little bit. North Texas plays Rice next week, and then FAU and Western Kentucky play each other. So both FAU and Western will be rooting for a North Texas loss, and then if that happens, winner of FAU Western, assuming FAU beats Middle this week, assuming all the favorites win this week, that'll be the situation for next week. So
speaking of atrocious, a ESPN article I was reading today about the North Texas. In the ESPN article, they said how UAB has knocked North Texas out of the conference championship. And I was like, man, that doesn't sound right. I looked at the record. I'm like, well, there's not an East or a West or anything, so it's the best record. I thought that was pretty funny because ESPN doesn't know shit. They're like me. And I was like, well, I don't think that's right, SB.
No. Well, yeah, you are right on that one.
I was right on that one. I thought I had to go and check and redo my formula, but I was like, I think North Texas still has a shot here.
Yeah. Murph, what about you? Headlines from Week 11.
I'm going to go Coastal Carolina clinching the East, and they got a pretty darn good shot at hosting that Sun Belt Championship. And let me just say this. They had all the reasons and all the excuses to lose that game. McCall doesn't play. He's your honestly the MVP of the team. And that was a great game to watch. It was a hell of a ball game. And not because his father calls into the show, but it seemed like, and he only had 4 catches for 106 yards, which is incredible in its own right. But like every time they needed a big play at a big point of the game, it seemed like Sam Pickney was the one that was catching it and making a huge play. So shout out to Sam Pickney Jr., I believe. But that's Steeple's son. So huge win for Coastal. Hopefully McCall can come back and they can keep it rolling, and then they'll host the conference championship.
Raise your hand if you knew that was Steeple's son.
Is that for sure?
I did.
Is that for sure?
Yeah.
I think it is too,
Yeah.
because
because they have the same
transfer.
name.
He's a transfer from.
He's a pretty big fan, though. He
from
may change
Georgia
his
State.
name.
Let me just double check. I'm like 99% positive.
No, I'm pretty sure you're right, because that's why he was at the Georgia State game, and that was a.
I guess that makes sense. I thought he was just a die-ass hard fan, just traveling to every game, not missing, not taking 2 years off, not going to see his alma mater. He goes to every game and probably gets a lot of respect from his friends.
He probably does.
Yeah.
Well,
at least on his Twitter account, it says Samuel Pickney Jr.
It's going to be a long show.
Okay.
Steeple, if we can get some clarification on that next time you call in. I'm pretty sure. I feel like you said that before.
No, I'm pretty sure that's accurate, Jeff. Coastal, they keep getting it done. It hadn't been a lot for them this year, but they keep getting it done when it matters. And that's a win. A win's a win, especially when you're talking about conference championship aspirations.
And real quick, Sprouse, if I can add one more note, if these two teams end up making it, I cannot wait to see, as long as McCall is healthy, a Coastal Carolina offense versus a Troy defense in the championship game. That's going to be a hell of a ball game.
He won't be healthy, though. He said 6 weeks.
3 to 6, I think, right?
What a freaking window that is.
You telling? Trust me. If they go to the championship game, that guy's
you got to think, right? You got to think.
I would think.
Got a career ahead of him, though.
He does. Well, Jeff, if you want to before we hit the voicemail, we got Southern Roots Radio commercial to read, and then we got 10 voicemails.
Yeah, so appreciate the guys over at Southern Roots Radio. They play our show Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Central and Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Central Time. You can find them at southernrootsradio.com or at Southern Roots Radio. And it's an online radio station, plays great, fantastic music. I've learned about a lot of new artists every time I listen to them that I've never heard before. So check them out. They're connecting the storytelling and twang from Classic Music Row, the grit and blues from Beale Street, and the rhythm and soul coming out of the Singing River and Muscle Shoals. Go check them out.
Jeff's
Appreciate
got so
those
good at
guys.
that. You do really good with the advertisements. You got better every week, Jeff.
Hey, you know what, Grish?
Can I
That's
get
all,
one?
that's all
Can I
I'm
do
about.
one?
That's all I'm
Let me
about.
get
Yes. Yes. We'll find a sponsor for you, Grish. How about this?
I'll read that one next week.
How about this? You go find a nice sponsor that you like, and we'll partner with them, and then you get a read.
I'll have one by Monday.
Perfect. All right, well, let's get to these voicemails. We got 10 of them, and appreciate you guys continuing to call in. It's honestly become one of the favorite segments of our show. And give us your hottest take. And honestly, there's so many games that are going on in the group of 5. Like, call and tell us about the game. I'm sure there's stuff that we miss. We can, we do our best to cover everything, but give us a call and let us know what you guys think. So, all right, our first caller of the day is a new caller, Duke Dog Bob, James Madison fan.
Gentlemen, Duke Dog Bob here. I don't think you've had a JMU fan call in, so I wanted to tell you what this season has been like for us. After dominating an FCS and not losing this many games, it's been tough. After week 5, we're ranked number 25. We're going to the prom with the prom queen. Everything's good. Then we drank a little too much at the prom, woke up the next morning with a horrible hangover, looked over in the bed. Laying next to us was the swag bear. Don't know what happened, but we're looking for any girl to go out with tonight. Well, I'm hoping it's ODU this weekend. I'd love to win the state of Virginia, get back on the winning times, and I just heard that Grace McCall is out for the year, so there is hope. She may not be a pretty girl, but we'll take it. Thanks, guys.
That's good right there.
That's a great call.
Did that guy just say that he woke up next to me after a drunk night?
He did.
All 3 of you been there, so I don't know if you're that.
Oh, man, that was good. Appreciate it, Duke Dog Bob.
Yeah, well, James Madison, we talked about it a little bit last week. That depth or lack of sort of caught up to him towards the end of the year. You start getting some injuries, and then you just don't have the same number of scholarships to develop the past few years. So they'll be just fine. And they got a strong chance to spoil a Coastal Carolina hosting Sun Belt Championship game.
I'm calling that. I'm calling JMU to win that game. I just feel it.
Because
what happened?
It's in Harrisonburg, isn't it? I believe.
I think so, because Coastal's at home again.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I feel like I saw it. But anyways,
It's
appreciate
in
the call.
Madison.
Well,
It is-
and,
yeah, that's what I'm
just the fact that they're playing a full season with this tough Sun Belt conference that we've seen. I mean, James Madison came out of the gates hot and looked fantastic at the beginning of the season. But then you're just playing these good Sun Belt teams week after week
it's a gauntlet.
towards the end of the season. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens towards the end of the year in the Sun Belt. All right, next caller, we got our boy Terry Johnson.
Group of 5 guys. Terry Johnson here, Team Money. Calling Friday after a Thursday night, final home game at Cajun Field. Felt good to get a win against those Dirty Eagles. I got nothing against Georgia Southern fans, but I think I go at it with them on Twitter a lot, and so it's good to beat them. I think they're a great fan base, have a great culture. I think Clay Holmes is something good down there. I think that's honestly the best coaching staff he's beaten since Dez has got the job. They're going to be good. If you're a Southern fan, I know the season has probably been ups and downs like ours, but honestly, I think you guys are trending in the right direction. Nobody expected Georgia Southern to, win 5 games, I think, this year, let alone one against the P5, one against a ranked opponent. So, it felt good to get a win. Crowd didn't turn out all that great, which, hey, it was already a Thursday night game coming off, basically a lot of Raging Cajuns fans scorched the earth of those Baton Rouge idiots that, tall purple and gold their home, but whatever. It was a good turnout, happy with the win. Hopefully we go into Florida State, play well. I'm not expecting, to be giant killers, but shoot, I always gonna go cheer for my team. And hey, crazier upsets have happened, especially in this conference. So I'm all for it. But I just wanted y'all's opinion, man. Like Georgia Southern, Marshall, and App all have 3 games left. All have to get bowl eligible, and all play each other in these last 3 games, 2-3 games of their season. Right? It's like a a love triangle of people trying to get bowl eligible. And App has to win 2 more games because they have 2 FCS teams. So I just want to know y'all opinion, man. Like, who do you think comes out bowl eligible in these last 3 weeks? I know App and Marshall play this Saturday. I'm calling on Friday. So just want to get y'all thoughts. God bless for the 5. God bless for the 5 guys. Go Cajuns.
Appreciate it, Terry.
Well, I mean, Marshall already beat App, so he called before then. But
Yeah.
I don't know about App State.
I think they'll get that 6th win this weekend. I know we'll talk about it more later, but I think they beat Old Dominion this week, and they'll get that 6th win, become bowl eligible.
Don't they? Isn't that what Terry was talking about? Don't they have to get a 7th because one of their wins is who was it? Robert Morris. So it's a 1 double or an FCS
And because
game.
of that, you have to get another. Okay.
I don't know what the rule really is, but I would imagine they might get passed up for a team that's got 6 FBS wins. I don't know.
That'll be tough because their last game of the year is at Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern. Yep. If you would have told me Marshall and App State preseason would be fighting for bowl eligibility,
Yeah.
crazy, man.
Yeah, well, Marshall's at 6.
Yeah.
So they're there. I mean, and I think they can get another win. I mean, out of the last 2, and every team in the Sun Belt really, it's been really up and down. Other than a few teams, man, they look good one week, don't look good the next. I mean, like Louisiana's a perfect example.
And Southern Miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, appreciate it, Terry. As always, keep them coming, and we're gonna go. He's been having a rough one the last couple weeks, boys. Stu's right. I mean, those App fans they're reeling right now. So let's check in with Stu's right from Twitter.
Hey guys, Stu's right from Twitter here, and I'm fucking pissed again. I'm so fucking tired of Appalachian not playing a full football game. If we played a complete football game, we can play with anybody in the fucking Sun Belt, and we can't do it. We play one half of football every week, and it's driving me insane. Terrible play calling, especially on 3rd and 4th down. Just absolutely terrible. It's embarrassing. I am embarrassed. We should be embarrassed. I feel like for the 5th week in a row, or however many losses it's been, the more talented team has not won the football game. Nobody should be able to play with us. And we just keep, we can't do anything. It drives me insane. ESPN Plus, they didn't even have the down and distance. They didn't have the yellow first down marker. Nothing on the TV screen. The announcers were clearly pulling for Marshall. They even said it outright. I hope that Appalachia doesn't win the game. Them all. I'm on the verge of being done. It's basketball season. Shut up, creme brulee.
Yeah, man. I was just having a tough year. Can't put together a whole game. That's really what it's been.
I mean, you look at again, you look at their week 1 game, North Carolina game, and you're thinking, oh, okay, they probably should have won, but they'll be just fine. And then they beat A&M, and you're like, okay, App State's pretty good. And then they survive. They beat Troy, who obviously is a good team. But man, they are not good.
Not being Mr. Know-It-All. I am. I called it. They're going to lose to Marshall. They lost to Marshall. Why did they lose to Marshall? Because it was they were honoring the crash, and then they had every player's name on their helmet. These guys had something to play for. What was that state playing for? Dude, Marshall went in there and just took care of business. And App State can get mad at me all they want, but that team is not. They're not good. They ain't got a good squad. They're going to probably lose again next week. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens over there in Boone. But appreciate it, Stews, as always. All right, now we're going to go to our boy Zach, the Liberty fan. He's been calling in after some wins, calling in after a tough loss.
What's up, guys? This is Zach at GG Go Flames again here. And if I've learned anything from Terry Johnson down there in Louisiana and some of these other App State guys like Stu's Wright and others, it's that you got to call in when you lose, too. So I'm calling in here after Liberty lost to UConn on Saturday and a 3-point loss. Defense that had before now been excellent, maybe even one of the best in the whole country, not just the group of five. Played a terrible game. UConn ran all over us. Offense was very inconsistent. Turnovers. There was flags. Lost the game to a 5-5 UConn team. But props to UConn. They have won, I believe, 5 out of their last 6, and they've really turned their season around, and it looks like their program. So props to UConn and Coach Mora. But that's not exactly how us at Liberty wanted the rest of the season to go. But that's okay. We still got 2 games left. Big opportunity against the Hokies in Lynchburg this Saturday. Chance to go get 10 wins on the regular season and maybe 11 if we play our cards right for the whole season. So still a lot in front of us, even though it's a disappointing result. Also, real quick, wanted to give a shout-out to Boise State. I've got a friend of mine that's a big Boise State fan. I want to give a shout-out to his team going out to Reno and absolutely demolishing the Wolfpack. That's good to see for Boise State. I don't normally love it when people say college football is better when such and such a team is good, but I do believe that Group of 5 football is better when Boise State is good. The Group of 5 needs teams to carry the flag consistently because we know there's a lot of inconsistency in Group of 5. And if we want to gain respect as a Group of 5, we need some consistent schools that can go out there and compete with Power 5 schools every year. So I'm glad to see Boise State kind of turn around their season after really getting off to a rough start. So props to them. Hopefully they can go out there and get in that Mountain West championship game. So props to Boise State. And then before I close, I want to ask you guys a quick question about this new CUSA media deal that came out this week with the full conference slate of football games in October going to be on midweeks. Liberty Twitter has some mixed reviews on this. A lot of people excited because of the exposure, which I'm 100% in support of, but also just some concern about the fact that there will probably be two home midweek games in the month of October for the next 5 years of this media deal, which is kind of hard for traveling fans and stuff like that. So what do you guys think as CUSA guys, as guys that have followed MACtion? What do you guys think? I'd love to hear that. I'm personally kind of excited for it, but a little bit concerned about it as well. So anyways, thanks, fellas. Hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.
Fantastic call, Zach. Appreciate it.
First topic I was going to say, sort of unrelated. I'm surprised nobody's talked about Jim Mora at some of these coaching jobs because, I mean, UConn, it's not like they're doing anything super special, but they're winning some games and looking good. And
I don't think he wants to leave there.
I mean,
from what I've watched, I mean, where was he at before UConn? Y'all should know.
UCLA, wasn't it?
UCLA
was his last big job.
Okay, the interviews I've seen with him is I wonder if this is like his kind of, I don't want to say retirement spot, but where he wants to be and kind of finish out, kind of like Gus Malzahn to UCF. I think he likes Connecticut and he wants to stay there with his family. Totally swag bear speculations, doesn't mean shit. So I thought he wanted to stay there.
No, maybe. I mean, he might. I just usually half the time with these coaching searches, it's just the media making stuff up anyway. So I'm just surprised nobody's brought him
UConn's
up.
pretty damn good, man. I mean, ever since that week 1 we saw when they did against Utah State, I can't get over that running back. He's a beast.
What were you were gonna answer.
I'm probably going to be a reason I wanted to go because I think all three of you are going to be against what I say because I personally am not that big of a fan. I love action, but as if you're going to try to get recruited, for me personally, if I'm going to play college football, I want to play on Saturdays. That's when I feel like that's when the big boys play is on Saturdays. So whenever I know that I'm playing on Wednesdays or Thursday nights, granted I know that there's pros and cons to it because then you get your weekends off more likely to watch football. I can see it from where you think that it's a lower tier football because you're playing on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday nights instead of playing on Saturdays. And then I also understand the issues it is for fans to have to travel. Like all three of you have kids. Then how are you going to get to the games or your kids having school the next day? It really is a pain in the ass. And then according to the MAC schools, your students don't want to go because they have class the next morning. So there are issues.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. I like the extra exposure that it's going to give nationally because football is going to be on midweek and people are going to watch those games. I'm not super crazy about it from a fan standpoint. I live in the area, but I get that point of other fans, wanting to go to the game and even family, of players wanting to go to the game. And shoot, if they live 4 or 5 hours away, they normally come up on a Friday night, stay the night, Saturday. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I kind of would have liked to seen it stay Saturday mainly, Saturday games, occasional Friday night game. I feel like Maction's kind of got the midweek slot. People know that's what it's going to be, but I'm never against, more football throughout the week. So we'll see what happens.
I actually like that.
It's a money play.
I liked on Saturdays, like on FS1 or Fox when you had that Conference USA game at midday. I mean, so that's going to go away apparently, right? And they're going to have all their games throughout the week.
It's only in October,
right?
Yeah.
Do we know what night of the week it's going to be?
No, not off the top of my head. I don't even know if they've announced that yet.
Because here's the deal: weekend starts Thursday, so Thursday night games are fine. I mean, we've seen that forever. The Thursday night games usually have a decent crowd. Friday night games usually have decent crowds. Tuesday, Wednesday, I think it's the same. I think you have the same challenge. You still have to create the environment. Look, Major League Baseball plays 160-plus games, and I know they're World Series defending champs, but the Braves pack that damn stadium on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night every week. So you can you're not asking the whole city to come, but you can find 15,000 people.
Feel free to use this, all three of you. If you want to take credit for it, Jeff, take it. Instead of Tuesday Maction, Conference US Wednesdays.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all. You can't make fun of it. Conference US Wednesdays. I'll go back on mute.
Anyways, appreciate the call, Zach. As always, keep them coming in. Yeah, Boise's. I agree with that point that he made. I do think
I agree.
The group of five is always better.
Well, it gives the the big challenge is it usually, as far as the playoff or the AP, they're not going to rank a group of five team unless they are a 10-plus win team for like 3 years straight. So, and it still is the same. It goes by. It's about brand. That's why, and so it's got to be Boise. That's why Boise or UCF can get ranked a little bit quicker than a Troy, and right now you're seeing Coastal. Coastal hasn't looked great, but they kind of have created a little brand of the last few years. So they win enough games, they'll put them in there.
Yeah, keep them coming, Zach. And now we're gonna get to our guy, weekly caller, Jim Cowart.
Good morning, group of five guys. Jim Cowart calling you in again on my morning commute to work. All I got to say about Thursday's game against Terry's Cajuns is, damn, hated to see that. Hate to take an L like that. But hats off to Louisiana Lafayette. I'll be honest, I missed the first half of the game. I was traveling. But anyway, hats off to you guys, Louisiana. Congratulations on the win. Not really much to say about it. Again, I've said it all year, but we're young and we're rebuilding. I mean, that's all there is to it. And especially on defense, you're going to get exposed like that. But anyway, I still think our team's headed in the right direction. And I still think we have a good shot at making this year a little something, especially I think we've come miles from where we were last year. But I do have something to say to some of the fans that get out there on social media. You know, maybe have one or two too many Zimas and get all emotional. And I get it, football's an emotional thing, but man, just going irate and calling for coaches' heads and players on social media, man. I mean, not really a good look when you're trying to rebuild and build some stability. I mean, some of these guys have had 4 head coaches, you know, in the span of their college career here, if you count interims. I mean, that's kind of wild. You know, it's hard to build a stable program like that when you're constantly switching leadership. I think our boys are headed in the right direction. I think the coaches are still taking us in the right direction. You know, talked to me in about 3 years after they've had a chance to recruit their guys for their schemes, etc. But I get it. It's emotional. It's an emotional game. I get it. But just try to tone it down a little bit, especially, you know, just, you know, let's take our lumps and bounce back the next week. Hail Southern, go Eagles, and we'll see all y'all at the Marshall game.
Appreciate it, Jim.
Are there people calling for Helton's head?
I guess so. I mean, that seems to be what he's referencing, which is idiotic, if you ask me.
Well, it's amazing how quick expectations can change, and then you're ready to just flip on somebody. What was their what was their preseason win total supposed to be this year? Not a lot. 3.5, 4.5.
I was going to guess 3.5.
Yeah, I think it was 3.5.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they look good, and so everybody thinks, oh, we're a lot better than I thought. So now we have to continue to be this good, or it's a failure. I mean, I don't understand the fans. It's like they expect to be bad, and then when they're a little bit better than expected, they still think it's a failure.
Well, you have this group of fan base in every fan base that is just this irrational, like emotional, like roller coaster, like can't stay. You know, they're either up or down. They're not in the middle, and they're unrealistic. And it's like new coaching staff. He's done a great job. He's getting people, you know, back kind of excited. It's probably somebody that's used to that triple option Sprouse and doesn't. They're probably mad that they're spreading it out, throwing it 60 times a game.
Who they think they are, the New York Jets? I mean, yeah, dude, they have so far exceeded expectations in Statesboro this year. I can't believe anybody would say that. What's the saying? The people that contribute the least complain the most.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's somebody that goes to the stadium, if they go, probably doesn't go. They're probably at the bar watching the Georgia game.
Yeah,
and then they check the score and they're like, "We lost, we suck. Let me get on Twitter and bitch about it." It's ridiculous.
Yep, I had a run-in with those Saturday night on Twitter.
You were going after them.
Well, I just don't get
standing in there though, Jeff. You were standing in there. You were on the ropes. You were just fighting them off, though. I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, somebody's got to stand up for our alma mater, Sprouse. You know these. He admitted himself he doesn't go to the games anymore, and then he's like, "You're only there because you're getting paid."
Yeah,
and
I'm
I'm like,
say that.
Getting paid first and foremost, buddy. Let me tell you, it's not like I'm over here making millions of dollars.
You are, dude. I saw that steak you had in El Paso. My
God,
God,
I bought it with my hard-earned sandwich money.
Yeah,
but
yeah, no, I saw that. He said you only go because you're getting paid, and you're like, I've only been calling the games this year. I've been going for the last 6 years.
Yeah, since I graduated.
And then he was like, I didn't say that. And you were like, yes, you did. You clearly did, and we all see it. But
I was not letting him get the last word. Yeah. Put it that way. But anyways, appreciate it, Jim. Keep them coming. And let's move on to Zachary Branner.
What's up, guys? This is Zachary Branner. Troy Trojans. Rattled off another win. Again, it was ugly, but, I don't know what Coach Summerall says in that halftime, but it seems to get our piss hot, and we get going. Defensively, lights out. We're playing a triple option team. They're going to run the ball. Obviously, that's what's expected. But really, just the highlight, man, is Carlton Marshall. This man has 16 or 17 tackles in the first half. Now, granted, I was at this game. It was my first game back since 2018, my senior day. and we beat Texas State. And the environment, man, is phenomenal. Phenomenal. What Coach Summerall has been able to do in 1 year with the same talent, pretty much the same talent that Lindsey had, is remarkable. And let me tell you, what's easy to say and to figure it out is it's the culture. It's buying in and investing in the community. You know, I've said it several times. Lindsey did not do that. But to go back, Carlton Martial, 546 career tackles, FBS, NCAA record. That belongs to him. A Troy Trojan. That record belongs to a Troy Trojan. Now, we got ULM this week. We got to win that one, go 1-0. You know, the West is, slow becoming ours. I know South, them boys down south, boys down south are, trying to get up on our tail. But you know what? I think we got it. And them can beach chickens up, in South Carolina. We're coming. We got 3 years of payback for your bitch ass. We're coming. And I live in Texas, by the way, Mr. Pebble, whatever. I still use Louisiana in Texas. All right? So, you can have your union fight, bro, you won't. But them Trojans coming. All right? Buckle the fuck up. Let's ride. One Troy.
Appreciate it, Zach. Yeah. High-scoring affair, Troy.
Yeah.
10-9. That's an incredible feat to keep that, triple option to 9 points, man. So
yeah, they shut them down, but it's one of those things where if you know it and them guys are on their assignments,
yeah, and they're disciplined.
And then Army can't. I mean, they can't. That's the thing about running the triple option. You're stuck if it's not working. I mean, what are you going to do? Get in the gun and start throwing it all over the place?
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, yeah, we already talked about Carlton Martial. That guy's a stud, man. Incredible. All right, let's. We got a new caller, Western Kentucky fan.
Oh.
Hey guys, Group 5 guys. This is Talon, a little bit north of Bowling Green. Big WKU Hilltopper fan here. Just found your all show. Really good show. UMTSU guys put on a good show. We're back in the win column. Got a big win against Rice. It was really, really cold. I mean, super cold. Fans didn't show out real well, but it's 34 degrees. What can you do? Just appreciate your all show. Can't thank y'all enough for everything you all do for the Group of 5 and the direction it's going. And hopefully, if I can make it down to an MTSU game in the next few years, I'll be able to see you guys. Have a good one. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Talon. Yeah, Western Kentucky's right there in it. Make it back to the Conference USA Championship.
They got to root for a North Texas loss.
Yeah,
that's what they're all rooting for.
Yep, then go down to FAU last game of the season and beat them, and then they need a North Texas loss. But if that happens, they're there right back with the rematch with UTSA.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, and yeah, anytime you want to catch a game in Murfreesboro, just hit us up, give us a direct message on Twitter. We'd love to meet you at tailgate, watch the game. So, all right, we missed him last week. Well, he called in. And he wanted his voicemail scrapped, so he scrapped it. But App State Fanatic is back.
Hey, fellas. I wanted it to be known I did, in fact, have chicken last week. Local KFC does $5 chicken liver box.
Love this dude.
You can't beat that. Chicken and diabetes in one package. But I wanted to call and give some congratulations. I called in last week. Murph did me the honor of retiring that call. I was too mean to one coach, I felt like. Really, they all deserve to have their asses chewed out a little bit. Appalachians won Hail Mary away from 2-8 in their last 10 ball games. This is not getting done. If you would have told me Appalachian would have had College Game Day and I would know by heart Coach Clark's best buyout date, well, shoot, I call you a fool. But there we are. We're right there, fellas. Well, anyways, Jesse, you looking good. 15 pounds down, big man. Y'all looking sharp there on that YouTube page.
17 pounds.
Congratulations to Marshall. They can proudly say we are Marshall. I can proudly say we are dog. In the Coastal Carolina Community College, congratulations on your second win against Appalachian State University. That's a big deal. I would like to let you know that puts you in a similar winning percentage as Western Carolina University. and all other small starter schools. You'll get there one day. You'll boost those numbers up. I'm sure. I'm sure nothing's going to change when Chadwell and McCall leave. I'm sure this will stay the same forever, or whatever you need to hear, darling. Well, congratulations to them. Congratulations on the division. Hopefully we're back sometime soon. Thanks for what you do, fellas. Go Group of 5.
He's my favorite. I can't even.
Great.
Fellers, I love him. And I've been quiet for the past 3 voicemails trying to be good. I'm a little buzzed. But I like Sean Clark. I think maybe they need to look at the coaching staff, maybe. I don't know. But I think they've had a crazy beginning of this year. They had a crazy start to this season. And they're plays away from being 2-8. They're also a few plays away from being 8-2. I mean, hell, they are a good ball club. They're just not finishing. I don't think Sean Clark needs to be fired by any means. Now, I know that 90% of that state fan base might be thinking differently, but I think they need to chill out. Just let Sean Clark do his thing.
I mean, they were in the conference championship game a year ago with Sean Clark and with.
If Jimbo Fisher don't get fired, Sean Clark don't get fired. Okay, that's
Jimbo. You want Sean Clark to start suspending people for wearing the wrong wristbands or whatever? Good Lord. I'm with you. I mean, they're just not used to that. They're just not used to losing, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good thought process to have, though. I mean, that's what you want from a school, program standpoint. You want that high standard, but you gotta match the standard.
Was that his first year last year, Sean's? I guess it was, wasn't it?
It was his first, because
Jack Wagon went to Missouri.
Was there, yeah.
So his first year, he goes to the Sun Belt Championship and loses. His second year, they have College Game Day, and he beats Texas A&M at the time, who was the number 4 or 5 team in the country. And then you lose to some pretty good Sun Belt schools. The Texas State loss is the worst loss he has. That's it. I think Marshall was a respectable loss at Marshall.
Yeah.
That's just me. I could ramble all day.
Well, appreciate it.
With you.
App State fanatic, keep them coming. We've got a couple more games left of the season, so maybe App State can get it turned around. But all right, we saved the last 2 for the Sun Belt East Division winner.
It's my dude.
Boy, Steeple PC.
Brought to you by Michelob's Lights. What are they called?
Hey, Group of 5 guys. How you doing? It's Steeple _PC_51. Well, I know half of the Sun Belt and half of the listeners from the East is dreading this call. So I might as well continue and let them have it. Yes. Coastal is the Sun Belt East champion. I had no doubt. I know, Stig and the Fanatic up app, and they still can't win a game. Georgia Southern, Georgia State, it didn't matter. It did not matter. Coastal is top of the board. Play for the Sun Belt Championship. All that stuff in the past about, they're going to get sick. Or, they lied about whatever. Oh, man, go ahead and live in the past. Y'all like Dallas Cowboy fans. Oh, my gosh. What we're worrying about right now is what's happening now. We won the East. We're going to win the Sun Belt Championship. We will surpass all other teams. And we got a good shot at going to the New Year's Day Bowl. That's our goal. Everything else is irrelevant. So I'm not going to get into too much details. I don't have no quick-witted snippet for anything. All I got to say is what everybody's been saying to me. Cap. Georgia Southern. Georgia State. And Cap again. I'm sorry, Jeff. Had to make you work that well. Anyway, see you guys in Conway.
Appreciate it, Steeple. And then he did call in a second one. Since we only had 9, we will let's play his second one real quick.
Hey, Group of 5 guys. It's Steeple _PC_51. I apologize. Jeff, I know you said not to do this, but I couldn't help it. Something on my mind once I hung up. When y'all guys first came on, that made me really love the show, there was another guy with you. I believe his name was Tim. I mean, he was a cool, country-looking dude. Looked like he had a big glass of moonshine. But he was the only one to predict the Coastal to go like 12-1 or 11-1. He was the only one. Not bashing you other guys, because, y'all weren't believers. Y'all was drinking that App State and all that other Kool-Aid. So it's not y'all fault. Y'all really did not know. I wasn't on yet to inspire you guys, but I'm here now. Please, y'all should have a show where he comes back as a special guest, and y'all should give him the Group of 5 guys crown, because he was right on point. He didn't complain about who we were playing and we got an easy schedule. He predicted us to be 11-1. We need to have that guy back on the show. Anyway, thank you guys. Great forum. This is the best fun I had all year. And my son's been playing for 5.5 years.
Son of a gun.
Love it.
Confirmed.
How did he know? He asked that question.
My son's a wide receiver for Coastal Carolina.
I'm talking to the guy right now.
Are we live?
Love the show. See you guys in Conway.
We very well.
I don't know who Tim is, but
talking about our boy Zeke.
Yeah, Zeke's just on a bit of a hiatus at the moment. We don't know what when he may
busy work schedule.
Or something like that.
He travels a lot, but he was right. I mean, he was on the coastal train.
He's been on the coastal train for like 3 years.
Yeah. Zeke's doing great. I went with him to that concert after
nice.
the MTSU game. So he's doing great. I agree with Steeple. I think we need to get Zeke on here, maybe like towards the end of the season, just one episode. Let him talk about maybe after
bask in
the
his glory.
championship week. Talk about Coastal.
That was wild though. We were talking about his kid being on the team, and then he confirmed it right there.
Yep. So appreciate it, Steeple, as always. We said not to do 2 voicemails, but I felt like you deserved that one. Clinching the East there. So keep the voicemails coming, guys. Give us your hottest take, whatever you got to get off your chest. 615-900-4286. Keep them coming.
No question. And before we get into making our picks for Week 12, we're just going to talk about some top performers from Week 11. It's brought to you by Prize Picks. If you download the app, use our promo code GOFG. They'll match you up to $100 on your first-time deposit. They've actually added a new feature. I don't know. Well, you guys in Tennessee can't do it, but where you can pick like 2 offensive players to get a certain like touchdown total, whether it be give you like a tight end for like I think tonight they got Eagles wide receiver and Red Commanders tight end, something like that at 0.5 touchdowns. But yes, sir.
Can I tell a funny betting story real quick? I think Jeff will love this because I definitely lost. This is a funny story. I was watching football yesterday, and I was on cloud 9. I had a lot of Sunday parlays, NFL Sunday parlays, and one of them I was about to win $300. I was so excited because the Titans won, and then I can't remember who the other team was. But they won, and then I had Bills money line. And then when they had that goal line stand, like Michaela was in the guest bedroom wrapping presents, and I was in there. I was like, let's go with $300, Michaela, let's go. And then and she came in here and she's like, I was like, the best goal line stand in freaking history. Like I was going crazy, and then bum ass Josh Allen is up there and fumbles the ball. And then Michaela, she just starts dying out laughing because she says I'm the biggest jinxer in the world. I was like, there's no way these
She's
jinxers.
not
Like I do
wrong.
is run the clock out and just knee it. And then boom, fumble. I just thought about it when you were talking about prize picks, but good God.
That's rough.
Yeah, that was. They almost got lucky in overtime too because they didn't review that that little sideline catch.
Yeah, I was watching like a hawk. But yeah. Another day in my life.
Yeah, you do have some. You have like the worst luck of like, it's for sure over, and as soon as you say or you tweet or you whatever, the worst thing that could happen.
I even
happens.
thought like if I celebrate this and Michaela hears it, I could. But my head was like, "There's no way." It's like 30 seconds left. Like I do is just run the ball and then just I don't know. And I think I may or may not have even cried. Like I was so mad. I was like, "This is bullshit." I was so upset.
Oh man. Well, that's so your top performer, Josh Allen.
Josh
coming
Allen
out of
was
the end zone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Go to you, Tip. Who you got?
I got a couple. Miami of Ohio wide receiver Mac Hippenhammer. We've talked to him about him a few times on this show. He had 8 catches, 107 yards, and 3 touchdowns in a losing effort against Ohio. And speaking of Ohio, their quarterback Curtis Rorick, 362 passing yards, 3 touchdowns against Miami. And I want to give a shout out to Louisiana Monroe's defense and special teams. They had a punt return for a touchdown and a pick 6 against Georgia State.
Yeah, dude. Speaking, I am so glad for Tuesday night action. See, there's a good reason, I guess, for the midweek games. So you get to watch some of these teams that wouldn't be televised at all on Saturday, or they'd kind of get mixed in with some of the other games. But watching Ohio, watching Curtis Rourke, that dude can throw it, man. I mean, we talked about some of the QBs in the MAC preseason, but he's one we didn't talk a whole lot about.
Missed that guy.
He's probably the offensive player of the year in the MAC. Arguably, but yeah. Anyway, Murph, who you got?
I got a couple guys here, and I'm gonna start out west. Fresno State is rolling, boys. Jake Hayner, 313 yards, 3 touchdown passes, and Jalen Cropper, 8 catches, 164 yards, and 2 tugs. Huge game, huge win over UNLV to keep their spot.
Yep.
Leading on that side of the division. And then it might be too little too late, but each week, the last 4 or 5 weeks, whenever they made the change, got him in there. San Diego State quarterback Jalen Maiden he's been getting better and better each week. He had 268 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and then another 61 yards on the ground. So we know how good that defense is. If they got their guy now, and he's just, like I said, each week he's progressively gotten better. I mean, if they can somehow sneak into that championship game, I don't know if it's doable at this point, but they'll need some help from Fresno to lose. But he's looking pretty darn good. And then they lost, but I got to give a shout out to E.J. Warner, Temple quarterback, 486 yards, 3 touchdowns, son of Kurt Warner. I think he's going to be a problem here in the future.
Way better than his dad ever was.
I thought of y'all this weekend watching that game because of Warner.
He's a good player. I only got one for you. Central Michigan freshman quarterback, Bert Emanuel Jr. I'm going to give you guys the stat line. Are you ready for it? Through the air, 1 for 3, 22 yards. On the ground, keep in mind this is a freshman quarterback playing in his first playing time of the season. 24 carries, 293 yards, and 3 touchdowns from a quarterback. I was looking at the stat line and the box score in that game, and I was like, I'm sitting here thinking ESPN is so stupid. This is a damn running back. And then I confirmed freshman quarterback. So he came in there, didn't throw it a whole lot, but damn near 300 yards rushing from a quarterback's impressive. That's who I got. Bert Emanuel Jr. So moving on to week 12, a couple non-conference games, couple games that well, honestly, I like some of these games. There's the first one, Louisiana at Florida State preseason, I would have said was going to be a huge game. What's up, Jess? Making faces at me. It's not an eye roll. It's a confusion look. And that makes me think I'm wrong about something. Am I?
I thought you were.
What do you got?
No.
Well, there it is.
What am I?
Okay.
What am I wrong about? What do you got?
You're not at all. Okay, if I'm gonna be completely
Shocking.
honest here, I already know this podcast. I probably lost a few fans. It's fine. When I saw Louisiana at FSU, I saw something on the ticker this morning, and I saw Troy at FSU, which makes me think, oh shoot, Sprouse made a mistake. It's actually Troy at FSU, not Louisiana at FSU. Troy at FSU is playing basketball right now. So yeah, Louisiana at FSU minus 23.5 since we're already on it. FSU looks to be playing good right now. I think that Louisiana goes in there. They're going to lose. I'd say it like firmly. You're going to lose. I think they make it pretty close. I think they're going to end the season on a high note. And I think they're going to probably lose by maybe 14 points. Keep it close in the first half. Second half, Florida State kind of runs away with it. So I like Louisiana here to cover with the points, 23.5.
Yeah, I think Florida State's got some pretty good momentum going.
They got some good running backs in Florida State. They got a good backfield.
Yeah. Yeah, this is another one, though, preseason. I would have said Florida State's terrible and Louisiana's good. So I would have probably had Louisiana preseason. But
are you about to say something about Coastal Virginia? Like, do you think they're going to play?
Well, I mean, I was going to – that's on the schedule. So if you haven't heard tragic events out of University of Virginia, 3 current football players were shot and killed by what apparently is a former football player. Not going to get into any details on it. I don't imagine that Virginia is going to play this game. It's not a conference game. It means little to nothing to them, and I mean they've got bigger, things to deal with. So I don't know. I don't think that we should pick that game. But keeping it
agreed.
Keeping it group of 5 related. Western Kentucky
prayers for Virginia.
Oh no,
prayers for Virginia,
question.
no doubt.
No question.
That's horrible.
I mean those. Yeah, I mean that's. I don't know any of the details. Don't need to know the details. 3 people were killed. That's all you need to know, and it's a little closer to home because it's guys that were in the locker room. They probably getting ready to go to practice or getting done with practice. I mean, that's not something that's. Yeah.
But Tyler tipped in a game on here that I do like. That screw Brian Kelly. Look what our boys at UAB go down there and just run the ball, ground and pound on the SEC and control the clock and make this a close game there in Baton Rouge. I would love nothing more than to see a freaking dragon Game of Thrones style just go in there and just maul a tiger.
I agree.
I was trying to say fillet and fillet. But yeah, let's maul that tiger. Let's go, UAB.
If they can have success running the ball like they have all season and keep LSU's offense on the sideline, I don't know LSU's quarterback's name, but I know he's a dual threat and he's very athletic.
I guarantee you, Brian Kelly would love to have Dwayne McBride in his backfield, and I think
100%.
McBride is going to. This right here, this game is big for Dwayne for NFL tape. So I think he goes out there and has a field day tip. I really do.
The only, I mean, LSU, the thing that worries me about this is I think there's still a slim chance LSU could try to make a playoff run. And so my fear is they feel like to do that, we got to beat UAB by 50 points.
Yeah, let them overlook them.
Well,
you think you can beat UAB by 50 points, and that's the wrong attitude.
Well, no, I'm just saying they're going to pull out all the stops. They're going to be. They're not. Who do they play the last week of the year? Who's LSU's?
They played Texas A&M.
Well, UAB is better than A&M, so they're going to be. It won't be any overlooking any of that kind of stuff. I mean, I'd love to see it though. I'd love to see it. Plus, I got a bad taste in my mouth from UAB going to Georgia last year and getting smacked. But Georgia's different.
That's a different caliber.
I kind of like Western Kentucky going to Auburn. We had, Auburn. Auburn had their little. They had their little game now. They had their little good game with the interim head coach. Now it's back. Now you got some idiot Auburn fans. They want to hire Cadillac Williams because they won one game, and he's got, he's different from Brian. He's
Cue the Grisham eye rolls. Like,
he's the opposite from Brian Harsin, so they think he's the guy. But that's not happening. At least, maybe it will. I don't know. I hope
the bettors like him as well. This opened up as 7.5 point favorites, Auburn, and it's down to 5.5.
Really?
Some money coming in on Western Kentucky.
Oh. I'm an idiot. I thought you were talking about the bettors got Cadillac Williams.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Oh, the head coach?
No, sorry. No, sorry.
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
That's wild, though. So it's a 5-point game right now, West Kentucky going to Auburn?
Yep.
That's some huge ass respect for WKU.
I mean, Auburn has not been good this year. I mean, San Jose State took them to the wire earlier in the year. Western can throw it all over the place, so I don't know if I like 5.5. I like 7.5. But anyway, those games are pretty much meaningless. The Coastal Virginia, if that game's happened from a pure football perspective, it does matter for Coastal in the event that they are in a tiebreaker with Troy. You'd take the highest ranked team, and with a Coastal win, you'd imagine they would be the highest ranked as far as hosting the Sun Belt Championship game. But we'll see what happens with that. American Conference, so Tulane and Cincinnati play next week, and that would potentially be for second place. UCF is on track to host. So if you're SMU's got to beat Tulane this week, and then they got to hope Tulane beats Cincinnati next week. Then you get SMU in there. I think Houston is mathematically alive, but Houston's defense is atrocious. I don't think they're beating. I mean, they gave up 30-something points to Temple. But SMU Tulane Thursday night game. Interested to see what Tulane crowd shows up. They showed up this week. Will they let one loss on a Thursday night hurt them? 2.5-point favorites, Tulane at home. Start with you, Swag Bear. What do you think?
I haven't said this all year, but this is a game I'm probably going to definitely stay away from because I have no clue. I was a Tulane mega fan all year, but just seeing how much yards UCF put on them, it makes me worry what SMU could potentially do. That being said, I do think Tulane will have a good showing. I think it's going to be a good home field advantage for them. They're going to try to step back up and be the ring leader. I'm going to take Tulane here to win this ball game. But I think it's going to be a very, very, very high-scoring game to where it's who has the ball in the fourth quarter is going to win this ball game. Oh, last. That's ball last in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Tip, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Tulane gets back on track here and gets back in the win column this week. Tulane's defense, this past week, they had trouble stopping UCF's rushing. But SMU doesn't have as good as a rushing offense as UCF. SMU has most of their success on offense passing the ball. I think that benefits Tulane in this matchup. Tulane's defense is only giving up 175 passing yards a game. So SMU's defense, they're giving up over 32 points a game. So I don't think Tulane's offense is going to have any trouble scoring in this game. I'm going with Tulane to win at home, and I think they cover. It's up to 3 now, so it's moved half a point. But give me Tulane to cover.
Murph, what do you think?
They don't need a rushing attack because they have Tanner Mordecai and those receivers. Give me SMU. I think they go in and beat Tulane at home. I think anytime you have a quarterback that puts up 10 touchdowns in a single game and you score 70 points, sure. I'm not betting against those guys. And like the guy on Twitter, SMU Commentators, his Twitter handle, he said they're going to win out. And as of right now, they're looking like it. So give me SMU, dude.
Dude, that guy, SMU Commentator, it doesn't matter what
no.
He has something to say about it. We got to have SMU ranked number 1 in every category for him to be happy. But I'll say this. I mean, he's just not as athletic as Plumlee. I think that's a lot what gave Tulane problems is Plumlee was able to do it with his legs a little bit. Tulane, I mean, I think they lost, but now they're motivated. They want the rematch. They want to go down to Orlando and play them for the championship. I'll take Tulane in this one. Any other games in the American you guys are looking at? A lot of double-digit spreads. Houston at ECU is interesting. ECU doesn't really have a whole lot to play for anymore, but again, Houston, their defense is so
defense is bad.
I don't know if
I think
Keaton Mitchell, he got hurt against Cincinnati, and I think if Keaton Mitchell doesn't get hurt last week, ECU wins that game. So whether he's back or not is going to be a huge factor in that game. But if he's back, I think ECU beats Houston.
Yeah.
This isn't really a prediction. This is also, I don't know how to put this. This isn't a prediction, but this also isn't like the way I see it is one of these two teams is going to upset the other. I have a feeling either South Florida is going to beat Tulsa or Navy's going to beat UCF this weekend. One of those two things is going to happen. Some type of upset. One of the two. No, well, UCF had a huge letdown loss to Navy last year, and that one I'm kind of wary on. I think probably UCF's going to be ready to play against them. But Tulsa, who I was a huge Tulsa fan last year, and I was actually high on them this year. Their season has just not gone their way. And South Florida, I'm kind of on the Sprouse train with them. They got to win eventually. So I think one of these two games is going to have an upset, and I'm leaning more towards South Florida, but I could see Navy sneak up on UCF.
Well, Navy took Notre Dame to the wire this weekend, and so
it's how the opposing defense plays, which duh, right? But if UCF comes out there and they let Navy ground and pound on them, it's a toss-up.
Yeah. No, dude, South Florida. Did I not? I mean, not to say I called it, but did I not call it? The game was tied.
That was some expertise stuff there.
I said, here we go. They're going to lose by 3 touchdowns.
Sure enough.
5 minutes later, they were down by 3 touchdowns.
Probably the only time I laughed this weekend.
Yeah. So going to Conference USA, we talked about it earlier. So if you're Florida Atlantic and you're Western Kentucky, Western's out of conference this week, but FAU is at Middle Tennessee. So they've got to win. And then both Western and FAU got to hope for a North Texas loss to Rice next week. And then winner of FAU Western has a chance to play for the conference championship. Still a lot to go on. UTSA's pretty much got it wrapped up to host. So really the only meaningful game.
So is North Texas off this week, or are they just not? They're playing at FCS school.
I think that's what it is. I'm.
They're off. They're not playing this week.
What a weekend to be off. All right.
Yeah. So really the only game that's got any meaning to it is FAU at Middle Tennessee. If y'all remember, last year Middle went down to Boca Raton and won on a trick play at the end of the game to make it bowl eligible. So Middle's kind of had FAU's numbers sometimes. Go to you, Swag Bear.
I'll start with it just off personal experience, because I think these are pretty evenly matched teams in my opinion. Jeff probably has all the numbers, but I'll just go off of personal experience. I always had my best game against Florida Atlantic, so I'm going to take Middle Tennessee at home. I think they show out, get bowl eligible. And right, Jeff, they win this game, they're bowl eligible. Yep. Rick Stocks was all about that bowl eligibility. They beat Florida Atlantic.
Tip.
I agree with the Swag Bear on this one. Looking at the current forecast, it's supposed to be another cold one on Saturday. So I think that benefits MTSU in this game. I'm not sure if Cunningham's going to play or not, but MTSU's backup looked good against Charlotte. So I think whichever quarterback plays in this game, and I know me and Murph were talking about it, I think they're trying to redshirt the backup. So not sure if Cunningham doesn't play, if they'll start the backup or not. But regardless, colder weather favored MTSU this past weekend, so I got them winning this one at home.
Murph, I'll let you give the final choice on that. I believe FAU's knows Evan Anderson, number 0, who I talked about preseason. I believe he's out. And I was at that game last year. He destroyed Middle's O-line.
That was your preseason, like All-American. You love that guy, dude. He still might make it to the league. I mean,
he's a sophomore. He got plenty of time, and he's gigantic.
Christ.
Yeah, dude. He did that. I'm telling you, last year I knew nothing about the roster. I'm watching the game, and it's one of those deals where I don't pretend to be some kind of scout, but I was like, good Lord, this guy's like jumping off the field, like way better than everybody else out there. And then I looked him up; he's a freshman. But so if he's out, I mean, I got to pick the Raiders. Got to. only because I said they were going to win out, and they already lost one after the Western game. But Murph, let's hear it.
I love it, MTSU.
Motivate us.
Jeff Murphy.
Well, you know I love a home dog with ketchup and mustard and
4.5
relish on it.
point dog.
And yeah, like as Tip alluded to, I don't know if they're going to have Cunningham back. Vadiato played last week, but he still has 2. He can play, as far as I understand it, the rest of the season and still be able to redshirt as long as he does not play in the bowl game if he has to play. He can play 4 games and still be able to keep your shirt. So they're not really too worried about that. They just got a lot of guys banged up, man. I mean, they started the game last week without Bracey, their backup running back, and Irvin, who's their scat back. Cunningham was obviously out. Jordan Branch, a defensive lineman, was out. Gathings played a little bit, but not much. Lane was out. So they have a lot of guys hurt. They got to get those guys healthy, at least get some of them back to give them some depth because they're playing a lot of freshmen right now. But they pulled out the win when they had to. They made plays when they had to. It was not pretty. But I'm not going to bet against my Blue Raiders. They're both teams are playing for bowl eligibility, so they're both going to be fired up, ready to go. But I do think the weather plays a factor. You know, Sprouse, those Florida boys do not like the cold.
No.
They've been used to playing in that weather all year long. So give me the Blue Raiders at home. And whoever that clown is, Alex, whatever his name is, on Twitter, you're going to eat those words that you were saying over the weekend.
Tip, what do you got for us?
FAU's defense giving up 182 rushing yards per game this season. Big Frank Peasant game.
Frank the Tank, baby. And
What
FAU, real quick, Sprouse, I forgot to throw this in there. They have only won 1 game on the road, and that was the Shula Bowl last week. FAU.
They beat the dog shit out of them.
Yeah, they sure did. Holy
Man, don't you hate whenever Jeff or you're betting and you're like, I was looking at that game and I was like, that should be for sure, right? So, wow, FAU, that might be hot. You know, I'm gonna stay away from that game. But in my mind, I was like, FAU definitely wins this game. Then I see 50-something to 7. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, God, I should have known. I should have followed my heart. Oh, crazy.
Yeah, it'd be. It should be a good game. I mean, FAU's got. I mean, they got a conference championship to play for potentially, so big game for them. Brent Dearman going back to Murfreesboro too. The other games, I mean,
these are all like this. Just reminds me of why the Conference USA is just not that good of a conference. I look at these games, I'm like, bad. And I'm not trying to talk crap about the teams here. They're just not having the seasons I thought. Like I thought UTEP was going to have a stellar year this year. I think they were my favorites for Conference USA. Real big letdown. FIU at UTEP might be a good ball game. It's going to be probably a good ball. Might be a shootout. That's the game I'm looking at before you ask the question. I think UTEP is going to win the game, but I have a feeling though it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah, I mean UTEP, they beat Boise State, and we're thinking, let's move on to the MAC. So Toledo is in, and then what you've got to have is Bowling Green has to beat Toledo this week, and then Bowling Green and Ohio play next week. So a Bowling Green loss to Toledo, and then that should secure it, Toledo versus Ohio and Detroit for the MAC championship. So that's the game. Tuesday night, Bowling Green at Toledo. Toledo 14-point favorites. I feel like that's kind of a lot of points for anybody in the MAC, the way these teams all play close. But Swag Bear, what do you think?
In the words of Vince McMahon walkout song, no shot, because that's what you got. I don't think Bowling Green has a shot against Toledo. I think Toledo is going to handle business, and they're going to be in the conference championship.
No chance.
Thank you, Strauss.
Same shit.
Tip, what do you
sounded
got?
so good in my head. I was so excited. I was like, I'm going to get so much praise from Sprouse and Murph right here, and then y'all are just quiet.
It's like, you know what it's like? It's like when
no chance
when somebody tries to bring up a movie quote, like, we know every line of Remember the Titans, and when somebody tries to do it with us,
Jacob Corbali. Sorry, I said his name and everything. If you listen to this show, Jacob, we could not stand your movie quotes.
When you give a movie quote and it's wrong, who do they think they are? The New England Patriots? And you're like, that's not it, dude. And now the movie, now you've ruined it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Tip, what do you think? Toledo by 14 or what?
I got Toledo winning this game. The 14 points is too much. I don't know if they'll win by that much, to be honest. And I might be looking this like maybe too conservative, maybe like from a coach's standpoint or something. But my thinking on this is, since Toledo is already in the MAC championship game, isn't there a chance that maybe on offense Toledo might play a little conservative? Probably don't want to put too much on film out there for the opposition of that championship game. I don't know. I might just be that might not happen at all, but I was just kind of thinking about
like
that.
a politician there, Tipton. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, Finn's been hurt, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know what his status is, but maybe they don't. Maybe he doesn't play.
You think they don't give it their all to make sure they win this game?
I don't think so. No, I think they do. But
I mean, I'm saying like they could. I think they could call conservative play calls on offense and still win this game, and not to put.
Didn't
put too
Bowling
much
Green
on
have a
film.
huge upset this year? I can't remember who it was. Didn't they beat someone upsettingly?
Marshall, right? They beat
might have been
Marshall
Marshall.
after
Might have been
Marshall beat.
That's exactly what it was.
Notre
Yes.
Dame. Yeah.
Just be careful.
Yeah. No. Murph, what do you think of that one?
Yeah, I think Toledo wins. I don't think they win by 14. I think it's closer than that. Bowling Greens look good at times, and other times they haven't. So I think they show up, but I think Toledo gets the win.
Yeah. The rest of the way in the MAC, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're probably watching the show. These games are probably over. Ohio and Ball State should be interesting. Carson Steele, Ball State, running the ball all over the place, and then Curtis working Ohio.
We say this every episode, I feel like, especially in October, November, but it is pretty amazing. Every Tuesday or Wednesday when I flip on, I forget about, that sounds terrible, I forget about my action, but like I'm on going through my scroll feed and I see that, oh wow, got Miami at NIU tonight. I'm so fired up. It's literally the best thing about college football. It's great.
It really is. And I don't, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I don't remember all of the games being on. Like I
don't
like
either,
it
Matt.
used to
I
just
thought
be
I was
one
crazy.
game
I think they got
Tuesday.
them all on here.
Yeah, the other night, I remember there's 3 years, one on ESPN2, one on ESPNU, and then another one on CBS Sports. I was like, oh, hell yeah.
I think they were all bought in on this Maction deal, and that's probably what Conference USA jumped at it. Like, hey, it helped Maction.
Well-
Let's see if we get
and listen,
Conference US Wednesdays.
And here's the deal, too. The more sports gambling grows, the bigger
Yeah.
these are going to be. And I don't know if
Less
that's going to
my
make a
pockets
difference
get.
between. Well, yeah, that's accurate, but I don't know if that's going to affect the crowds. But if especially if you get some of these states like idiotic California that voted against it again,
Stupid.
I don't understand it. I mean, that's like the one
Georgia
thing.
too.
You would think and they're two complete opposite states, right? Well, I just.
It's all political. It's degenerate of the stuff that's going on in the state of California right now. The fact that they're against legalized sports betting is beyond me.
But
you
it's
can
one of
smoke
those.
our drugs, but you can't bet on our sports.
Yeah. You get all the homeless folks in San Francisco a chance to get off the streets with one win.
One bet.
I'm taking Jackson State.
Oh boy.
Take my corn dog.
All right, so moving on to the Mountain West. Fresno State pretty much has the West won because they've beat all the teams that can catch up to them. Boise and Wyoming are playing for first place in the Mountain Division on Saturday. Boise, 12-point favorites on the road, Murph.
Yep.
Wyoming, quietly, been a pretty damn good team this year. Home dogs. We go to you, Swag Bear. What do you
I
got?
love Wyoming. I was hard on them beginning of the year. Whenever I did my take on Wyoming, I think I had their team, and I thought they were going to have a really down year because they lost their running backs from last year. This team is physical, and they have been under that radar, flying under the radar, so they're not being looked at too much, and they're beating the shit out of people or out physicaling people. I think that Boise State's going to go there with a 12-point freaking advantage. No, sir. Boise State may win the game, but it won't be by 12 points, Jeffrey. I don't think so. I like Wyoming plus 12. Does Boise State win the game? Yes, they win.
Tip. What kind of numbers you got for us?
The line is now at 14. Boise State's favored, and I think they win by that much
sandwich.
or more. I think Boise State wins by 2+ touchdowns in this game.
Well,
Wyoming has played 3 of the bottom Mountain West teams over the last 4 games: Colorado State, Hawaii, and New Mexico. They're looking at their schedule. Wyoming is about to lose their next 2 games. They got Boise State and then they play at Fresno State, so they'll be still 7-5. I mean, great season, but this just kind of looks deceiving on paper because you got 2 7-3 teams playing against each other, but I think Boise State wins this one big.
Mom always said my eyes will get stuck if I keep doing this, but Tipton, you are smarter than this. Boise State, because they bring in a second-string quarterback, they think they have their savior to win the freaking Mountain West. This isn't a movie, Tipton. We're not watching Friday Night Lights here. Guess what happened Friday Night Lights? They got stopped at the goal line. Wyoming is that team. They are going to bring the wood. And I like it.
But not win.
Jeffrey, tell. No, they're not going to win. It's not going to be a... It's not gonna be a 3-point win.
Jeffrey, back me up. Jeffrey, back me up.
Come on, Jeff. Mountain West.
The real story of Friday Night Lights is Dallas Carter kicked their ass in that game.
Yeah. Have you seen the documentary on Dallas Carter? Good God Almighty! The guy was like over here supporting his child and running touchdowns. Like the guy was phenomenal. All of them.
Murph, what are you thinking this one?
I normally do like a home dog. But I think Boise State's got something figured out, and I think, like Tip alluded to, they won 14-13 against Colorado State, who, has not looked great for most of the year. And I know they're at home, but give me the potato poppers.
You watch Yellowstone, Jeff?
I do.
I know that's in Montana, but Wyoming's right by Montana, and they have the same kind of character, and they ain't gonna let some Boise State, Idaho potato popper come in there and just embarrass them. All right. They're going to go out there, and they're going to get ripped on that ass. And they are not going to lose by 3 touchdowns.
Well,
anyway.
It's only 2 right now, but...
Well, according to Tipton, Tipton done pissed me off with his 3 touchdown
I said
spread.
2+.
I was going to go Wyoming until Tipton gave his little spiel right there, and he sold me a little bit.
What do you know? 3 against 1 all episode. What do you think?
No, hold on. It reminds me of one time, Swag, you were with me. We went into the Sleep Number store in the Mall of Atlanta, and that guy gave me such a great sales pitch. I almost walked out of there with a $10,000 mattress, but I couldn't do it. I stuck to my guns, and I didn't do it. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm going Wyoming, wearing brown, at home. They rush the field. Wyoming, upset, money line over Boise State. Book it.
I see myself eating Captain Crunch late at night watching that game. Just like, oh, wow, I won this. I won.
This is the one. This is going to be, I'm sure that's a 10-15 FS1
I
game.
just feel it is. It may not be, but I feel like it's a 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, and it's going to be. I'm like dozing off. I'm
6
dozing
p.m.
off.
Eastern.
Oh, perfect. Prime
7
time.
Eastern, 6
Oh
Central.
my God, perfect. Yeah,
Take
too
the
easy.
fillets off.
Too easy. That's an easy one. We eat that. Watch that one eating dinner. Sun Belt. We already talked about Coastal clinching the East. Troy and South Alabama. I mean, Troy's just got to keep winning. They cannot slip up. Good news for them is they've got Monroe and Arkansas State.
That is good news, huh?
And then, oh boy, and then Coastal. I mean, as far as hosting, yes, the potential for this Virginia as far as the ranking goes, but also Coastal, and better watch out for James Madison next week. Game of the week's got to be South Alabama at Southern Miss. I mean, South Alabama, they got to keep winning too, and hope that Troy slips up. And Southern Miss has been a little bit on and off, but they've been trouble for people. South Alabama, 6.5 points on the road, going to Hattiesburg. Swag Bear, what do you think?
I'm going to disregard everything you just said because
Okay.
I want to go ahead and just give my picks for the Sun Belt Nation.
Okay.
Georgia State at James Madison. I like James Madison to win that ball game. Be ready for Coastal next week. App State hosting ODU. I think App State gets it done. They're going to beat ODU. South Alabama, Southern Miss. Southern Miss is that team. They need a big win. I think they upset Southern Miss. I think Southern Miss upset South Alabama. I think they get the money line victory. Troy hosting La Monroe. Holy crap, what just happened? La Monroe beats Troy at Troy.
Wow.
Arkansas State, Texas State. I think Texas State probably handles Arkansas State. Georgia Southern beats Marshall. But the key factors is, wow, what happened to the Sun Belt when Southern Miss beat South Alabama and La Monroe beat Troy? That's going to happen. Talk to me on Monday.
No chance.
Because that's what you got.
Not both of those happening. But here's the thing: what would happen
When it does, though, Matthew? Imagine that podcast next week. Just imagine. I'll be shirtless on this thing.
You probably would be. I mean, here's the thing about that is if that happens, if Southern Miss beats South Alabama and Monroe beats Troy, it changes
nothing.
Absolutely nothing in the conference. But if Southern Miss Southern Miss could beat South Alabama, I think. Monroe is not beating Troy. Now, I'll say this. I don't know that Troy's beating anybody by 14.5 because they got a hard time scoring 14.5. But I guess they could win 15-0. It could be that.
I just know by me saying that because I've been on a fire with these Sunbelt picks. Let me get some eye rolls. Look at all three of you. I'm telling you, I like La Monroe upsetting Troy. They just choke at the very end. We'll see what happens.
I think South Alabama's defense is too good against Southern Miss, which is going to keep South Alabama getting the W. And then I don't see Troy's defense giving up very many points to Monroe, unless they just fall asleep at the wheel, which can happen. But I think Troy handles business. I think South Alabama handles business.
I'll tell you what. I think Georgia Southern beats Marshall at home. Right there. That was one of the questions from the calls about getting bowl eligible. I think Georgia Southern wins that game and sets up a pretty damn important game in Statesboro next week when App State comes to town. But, Tip, you got anything on the Sun Belt?
No, I kind of agree with what you and Murph were saying, and I just completely disagree with what Flying Bear was saying. It's just I just don't see those upsets happening. I think South Alabama takes care of business. I think Troy takes care of business. I do agree the 14.5 is a lot. It's now at 15.5. I'm staying away from that one betting wise, but Troy wins that game. I do like the Georgia Southern win, the little home dog against Marshall. Marshall has been playing well the last 2 weeks, but going into Georgia Southern is tough place to play. So I think Georgia Southern gets it done there at home.
Ain't no question. Well, that is all that we have for you on the show tonight. You guys make sure you hit like and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Give us a 5-star review. Share it with your friends. Had the Liberty caller say he's got his buddy in Boise State. Let's get some Boise State fans calling in on the hotline. Guys, go to group5guys.com. Get some merch. Get some swag. Get some hoodies. It's cold. Download the Prize Picks app. Use our code GOFG. They'll match you up to $100. Season's coming to an end, boys. Where will the Group of 5 guys be December the 3rd? That is the remaining question. But that's all we got for you tonight. See you next week.